the question still remains, Mandy and Greg, is did we evolve or did we just react?
Mandy Young, Rebecca Harris, welcome to Studio PIEF for PIEF Conference 2025.
So excited to be here,
It's
Greg.
kind of cool, isn't it?
It's really
It
cool.
is
The buzz
kinda
and the
cool.
energy is amazing.
Yeah, I must admit, Rebecca Harris, your Perth one was outstanding last year. It was a great conference. This one's really kicked off really well. It's going to be awesome, but last year's was tough to beat.
We set a high bar, which I'm
Yes.
really thrilled about because everybody hauled themselves across the
Yes.
country. We weren't going to let them down.
Yeah, but also it's put the rocket up every other state to go, okay, we need to deliver, and they're doing a great job this year.
Greg, I've got to tell you, the
tell
delivery.
me.
I've got to tell you, the delivery that Sydney 2025 has brought is
Yeah.
something that Mandy's personally done. She got the minister here this morning.
Yes.
And I have never heard a government minister actually express in really simple language, Mandy, about the why of what we do. So I want to give a big shout out to Mandy. The minister did too, because he gets it, Mandy,
Yes.
doesn't he?
Well, he does, and it was comforting to see that today because we don't always necessarily hear that through our conversations.
No, yeah.
We're often having a lot of really intense conversations, as we should, about how we can improve the scheme. And to hear him today talk about this is the why. The why is about people who are experiencing the injury, no matter what scheme it is, and that's why we're here to make a difference in their lives. And to hear that so clearly from him was so wonderful.
It was cool.
And it really was. But I've got the challenging question for you, Mandy, right? Because, being in the industry a long time, as we have, and the key elements, as the Minister quite rightly spoke about today, and the passion and the energy and the desire, right? That's often not enough. And you spoke about, your talk this morning was about the evolved mindset. Mm-hmm. And evolving in this industry, as one of the speakers said, is really challenging. So how do I think we've quite successfully captured the hearts and minds of the people in the industry. We know why we're here. We know what we want to do. But how do we evolve given all the challenges that faces?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Mandy led us through, the minister then Mandy, which is you've got to understand your why.
Yeah.
And then for a panel, didn't we, Mandy? We had a bit of controversy.
Yes.
Because Tracy Slater, TAC Victoria, said, I respectfully disagree. It's not all about the why.
Yes.
It's about the how.
Yes.
And then it was on. It was game on. And I
Yeah.
said, I'm sorry, I respectfully disagree.
Yes.
I'm going to throw to Ginny Alpin Eye Care to talk about the who.
Yeah,
and then we
yeah,
had
yeah.
Chris White, Work Cover WA, to talk about the what. So really we went off and I was so thrilled because we had a level of disagreement on a panel discussion, but what everybody did agree with, Greg and Mandy really led the charge. We understand, as you said, the macro conditions.
Yes.
We're in control of the micro conditions. But the thing that we can't get our heads around, because human brains aren't wired this way, is around uncertainty. And Mandy, that was really your focus.
And that's what you spoke about. Yes.
Yeah, I think the important thing about that, Rebecca, too, is that to have those diverse views is really important
Absolutely.
because we can all agree on the why. And I think that, as you say, is the most important thing. But the how matters, the what matters, the who matters, all of those things matter because they're what helps us to land in a place where we continue to learn. Now, I'm pretty new to this industry, one would say, having only come into kind of personal injury over the last 15 months or so. And what's been really, and I think that's very new in this world, I've found, but it's not different in terms of the delivering really quality services to people who need them the most. And that's been the key part of that. And those other things really, really matter to be able to do that in a way. And evolving is learning that and understanding each other and getting us to the point where we think about we all have a role and each role is critically important, but we have to work together and collaboratively, which I think is what the panel also touched on today, because that's what's going to get the outcomes for the why.
Now, I've got another challenge question for both of you. The world is changing rapidly, all right, and we're a small component of a very big world. And change is forced upon us. So the challenge of change is, it's forced upon us. We have to change because the world in which we operate is changing. And also because we want to change. Right? So we've got a real tension between being pushed to change, And my view is AI is doing a lot of that, right? Which is going to be discussed today a lot. But we're being pushed to change, but also we want to change. So how do you think, as an industry, because with the resources we have, we're racing after the stuff that we have to do versus taking away from the stuff we want to do, or we're doing the stuff that we want to do and we're not changing rapidly enough to keep up with the world?
Yeah, I love that question because this is something that we also explored. Ginny Alpin really took us through a little bit the history that we've always had an evolved mindset. People that work in this industry are really unique. They are always about the personal good and the public value, but they have to still deliver on their own organisation's remit. It's complex. So she took us through some of the great wins and the great evolution that we've had as an industry. But the question still remains, Mandy and Greg, is did we evolve or did we just react?
Yes.
And this is
Yes.
where I'm still
Yes.
at today,
Yes.
and knowing the next couple of days are going to be what can we do proactively, particularly when uncertainty is a key element
Yes.
in the world we're working in. But how can we be proactive, therefore set those strategic intents to truly evolve?
And the key ingredient for, I think, for managing that tension successfully is, as you pointed out, energy. So it's a qualitative solution for a quantitative problem. Without the energy and without the mindset and without the discipline, nothing's going to change, is it, really?
I think even more to that point, it's about the growth that you sit within that. So I think if you're learning, you're evolving, and we're all learning from each other, and we continue to do that. But I think the big thing for change with me and changing uncertainty is to look at it as an opportunity.
Oh, exactly.
So if you keep looking at things as an
Yes.
opportunity, we may be in really politically, it's really tough. There's a whole lot of stuff going on right across the country in our space. But if we look at it as the opportunity of actually there are people out there who want to make a difference and to change things. So how do I navigate that to get change for the people that we're providing services?
And on that point, if you went into a room of your people and you said, all right, here's the change that's facing us, and they react as if it's a threat versus they react as if it is an opportunity, the energies in the dynamic is entirely different, isn't it?
Entirely
Absolutely.
different.
And the outcome
Absolutely.
is entirely different.
Yeah. And we saw a little bit of that from Tracy Slater, TAC. She was really adopting sort of the leadership mind strategies around what she's delivering in her whole organisation. I heard it from her. I heard it from Mandy. I heard it from Chris. And I heard it from Ginny. They are all about the we. So we started with the why, but what they really brought together was the we. We are stronger as a leadership group. We are stronger as an organisation. We are stronger as a scheme. And Greg, I have to say, that's what gives me hope.
Yes.
It's the we, and doing it despite our differences, looking at our similarities, and that's really where PIEF is taking us with national standards, with the member value proposition, with the education programs. We are stronger together.
And what I've found too is you have to take time to change. You have to dedicate time to change. And, you know, that we're dedicating 2 days to it, which is awesome. But you really need to dedicate a lot of time just for that opportunity phase, don't you?
You do. And it takes a long time to create the we.
Yes.
Yes,
And we have the we because of the why.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
all
Yeah.
linked in terms of how
Yeah.
we can evolve together.
Yeah. I talked a little bit. So I've seen Mandy from afar. Obviously, she's relatively new to our industry, and I've seen her from afar and we've waved. But we had the opportunity, and our only chances to link up have been on screen.
Yes.
So we're looking at each other's faces, and we talked a little bit about sometimes I see the beautiful face in its entirety, and other times, if it's Dr. Mary White, she keeps popping up and all over the screen,
Yes.
and because we can't quite get a read. And part of that reading was that's how we've evolved as an industry. So a practitioner, a regulator from WA can meet her counterparts, but I don't see the full picture. Coming together to conference is so important, Greg. Whether people are doing it online or doing it in person, we see the whole person. And what we chatted about in the room is we actually see the hand. The open palm waving says, hey, I'm a friend. The pointing finger says, maybe not so much. I might be a foe. And one of the things I always like to share with people in Western Australia, the Noongar people, the traditional owners of the land in the southwest, really have brought through not just their community, but the government of Western Australia, that we apply a triple H approach. Believe it in your heart. So believe it first.
Absolutely,
It'll
yes.
travel to your head,
Yes.
and your mindset
Yes.
changes. And then we all had our hands opened up,
Yes.
Mandy and I and the whole panel, because that's when we can act. So it's the heart first, the mindset or the head second,
Yes.
and then the hands and the action.
Which really
to
is a
carry
lesson for
through.
life, isn't it?
Lesson for
It's
life,
not
lesson
just for this
PIEF,
industry.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
it's family, it's friends, it's work. Yeah.
And that's what the industry is. So I
Yeah.
feel like, gee, Mandy, wow, she's like my best friend now.
Oh, that's
Because
brilliant.
have you actually happened to meet two positive regulators from either sides of the country?
Yes.
She's super positive, super focused, super directed. And I just loved the fact that she's leading, understanding macro, understanding micro, but focusing on the uncertainty and how we guide our organisations through.
Well, thank you both for spending time in the studio. Thank you for your contribution this morning. It was an excellent presentation, and looking forward to the next 2 days.